Hey guys, I'm back again and I'm here to do a Nonfiction November video. Now, Nonfiction November is a great moment to catch up on the nonfiction books that we haven't read yet. But being that I'm a lover of fiction, I sometimes have trouble, reaching for those nonfiction books that I have on my shelves. Now, I have quite a lot of nonfiction books on my shelves, a lot more than I thought I had. So what I've done is I've put a list of books, 9, that these are physical books. Now, there are some that I have on audio or that I would like to pick up and read over on Scribd, but I'm not going to show you those because, out of sight, out of mind, I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm going to try to choose from these 9 that I'm presenting to you. I feel like that's what I need in order to get something decent read in Nonfiction November. At least when I have done a decent read of nonfiction in the month of November, it usually works when I have picked a big chunky list, and then I can choose a few books in there as as the month goes on. So let's get started. Encourage me if there's some in here that you think, oh girl, you cannot miss out on that. You need to read that. Please comment below and, encourage me down that path to read that nonfiction book, because I always need some help with nonfiction. It's really funny. Every time I read nonfiction, I read really good ones, but I just don't read enough of them. So let's get started. We're going to get started with this French one, which is called Alexandre Dumas by Sylvain Leda. Okay, so this one I picked up when I went for a visit of the Chateau de Monte Cristo, which is not far from my house, about an hour away. And it is the chateau that Alexandre Dumas, the writer, had built, and they have preserved it there, and you can go and visit it. So I went and visited with some ladies from my book club. And so while I was there, I picked up this book, and this is talking about Alexandre Dumas, the writer. And I want to know more about him. So I figured, why not pick up this book? So here we are. It shouldn't be too long, though. A little bit over 300 pages, so I think I can make it work. Okay, the next book on my list, and this one has been, I swear to you, it's been on my shelves for so long, it seems like. Spanking brand new. I don't remember where I purchased it, but it's called Black, White, and Jewish, Autobiography of a Shifting Self by Rebecca Walker. So this is a memoir written by Alice Walker's daughter about being Black and Jewish. And I have been crazy interested about this book and just have not picked it up. So it'd be really great if this would be one of the ones that finally gets picked after being on the shelves for, it seems like, eons. It really seems like eons. So it has really good reviews and stuff. Like, I think there's a picture there of her daughter. So this one is something that I feel like could be a really interesting read. And I don't feel like, I don't have very many memoirs in here. I think I only have I only have 3 memoirs in here, I think. So I don't know. We're going to see. Next book on my list, I purchased this, I think it was last year when it came out. Wait, let me just check. This book, last year, 2021. It's called Cut from the Same Cloth. And this is a book that tells the story of women who wear the veil. And these are essays from the various different women who wear veils and who do not wear veils. And I picked this up because this is always a topic that comes up here in France about women wearing veils and France not being in accord with allowing women to wear veils wherever they want to wear one. And I have lived in a country where women wear veils and they were the majority, you know. And now I'm living here in France and there's still women wearing veils. They're not the majority of women, but there's still women here wearing veils. And I want to hear more about the women that wear veils from their perspective, not from someone else's, like I'm used to hearing. So, yeah, I'm excited to get to this one. It's particularly talking about Muslim women on life in Britain. So that's even more interesting, I think. So it would be great if I could really get to this one. Okay, this next book is called Shame on Me by Tessa Mcwatt. And this was gifted to me by my friend Mel here on YouTube. And thank you, Mel, again and again for getting me this book. Now, when she gave it to me, I started to read it, and I think I read just the first 2 sections of the book. But now I really want to just like read it in depth from cover to cover. And this is a very interesting book. So you see the cover, how it is. Looks very disjointed, but it's a book that talks about race from the different parts of the face. So it says, Tessa Mcwatt knows firsthand that the answer to this question often asked, which is, what are you, is always more complicated than it seems. Is the answer English, Scottish, British, Caribbean, Portuguese, Indian, Amerindian, French, African, Chinese, Canadian? Like most families, hers is steeped in myth and the anecdotes of grandparents and parents who view their histories through the lens of desire, aspiration, loss, and shame. In Shame on Me, she unspools all the interwoven strands of her inheritance and knits them back together using additional fibers from literature and history to strengthen the weave of her refabricated tale. She dismantles her own body and examines it piece by piece to build a devastating and incisively subtle analysis of the race debate as it now stands in the stunningly written exploration of who and what we truly are. And yeah, the beginning is just really captivating. I've not heard anyone talk about this book, but I really, thank you again, Mel, for getting it for me. And this one I will definitely be reading next month. Okay, the next book on this list is The Sex Lives of African Women by Nana Darkoa Sekiyama. So this one I picked up last year as well and didn't get to it, but it has some great reviews, but this is what it's about. The Sex Lives of African Women uniquely amplifies individual women from across the African continent and its global diaspora as they speak of their diverse experiences of sex, sexualities, and relationships. Many of the women who tell their stories in this collection recall the journeys they have traveled in order to own their sexualities. They do this by grappling with experiences of child sexual abuse, resisting the religious edicts of their childhood, and by asserting their sexual power. From finding queer community in Egypt to living a polyamorous life in Senegal, to understanding the intersectionality of religion and pleasure in Cameroon, to choosing to leave relationships that no longer serve them. These narratives are as individual and illuminating as the women who share them. So this is another one that I should have picked up at some point last year and didn't, and I desperately would like to get to this one because it sounds very, very interesting. Okay, this next book I will definitely be reading, and this one is called Mississippi Solo by Eddie L. Harris. And this is an interesting story, but because it talks about, it's a memoir of Eddie L. Harris's journey down the Mississippi in a canoe. So a black man rowing a canoe down the Mississippi, and what does that provoke in the people that he meets? And what does he see as a black man as he rows down the Mississippi? This is going to be the Read So Lit read along book for the month of November. We're all super excited to get to this one. If you're interested in joining the book club just for 1 month and because you want to read it with us, come on and join. The link's down in the description box for the Patreon. So this is Eddie L. Harris, and it says, Mississippi Solo tells the story of one man's voyage by canoe down the Mississippi River from its source in Minnesota to the Gulf of Mexico. A long-time dream and a journey of over 2,000 miles to the heart of America. Paddling into the southern states, going from where there ain't no black folks to where they still don't like us much. Eddie is confronted by the legacy of slavery and modern racism, including an incident with a pair of shotgun-toting bigots. There are also the dangers of passing barges, wild dogs roaming the wooded shore, and navigating a waterway that grows faster and more hazardous every day. But Eddie also encounters immense human kindness, friendship, and hospitality, as well as coming to know the majestic power and the awesome realities and mythologies of the river itself. Mississippi Solo is an unforgettable American adventure. And here he is. This is him when he was rowing down the Mississippi in the canoe. So yeah, so we are going to be reading this in the book club for Nonfiction November. So I'm really excited about this one because, first of all, I've been looking to get a copy of this book forever, okay? Because all of the time I would find it on Amazon or anywhere was like, oh, it's $200 a book. Because this book was written, I think, all the way back in 1988. It's super old. But Eddie L. Harris was at the Festival America. So that meant that I got to meet him and I got my book signed. So, and it turns out he also lives in France. He lives in Bordeaux. So he signed my book. So he lives in Bordeaux, and I was like, oh, I'm so excited. And I got this brand new copy, which is freaking fabulous. It's gorgeous, this copy. So I'm really excited that we're going to be reading this next month. The next book I have on the list is this one, which is called Homecoming, Voices of the Windrush Generation, Colin Grant. Now, I have spoken about this book and showed it probably a couple times in TBRs and still haven't made that happen. But I think I'm going to make this happen. How am I going to make this happen? I'm going to make this happen because I really want to read this one because I want to read Small Island by Andrea Levy after, or the month after, because this is, Andrea Levy's got me, curious now since we're reading Never Far From Nowhere in the book club this month. And so this one has to get read so I can learn more about the Windrush period. It's very important. So that's this one. So it says, A Homecoming draws on over 100 firsthand interviews, archival recordings, and memoirs by the women and men who came to Britain from the West Indies between the late 1940s and the early 1960s. In their own words, we witnessed a transition from the optimism of the first post-war arrivals to the race riots of the last 1950s. We hear from nurses in Manchester, bus drivers in Bristol, seamstresses in Birmingham, teachers in Croydon, dockers in Cardiff, interracial lovers in High Wycombe, and carnival queens in Leeds. These are stories of hope and regret, of triumphs and challenges, brimming with humor, anger, and wisdom. Together, they reveal a rich tapestry of Caribbean British lives. This is the one. And last but not least, I have Cast, The Origins of Our Discontents by Isabel Wilkerson. Now, I love, love, love The Warmth of Other Suns, which I've read twice. If you have not read The Warmth of Other Suns, you need to drop everything and get to that book. So good. This one has been on my TBR since it came out. So will I make a big effort to read it in November? I'm not sure. But this is what it's about. So it says, in this brilliant book, Isabel Wilkerson gives us a masterful portrait of an unseen phenomenon in America as she explores through an immersive, deeply researched narrative and stories about real people, how America today and throughout its history has been shaped by a hidden caste system, a rigid hierarchy of human rankings. I know it's going to be good. I know it's going to be good. So that's it. That's all of the books that I have on my physical list to choose from to read for next month's Nonfiction November. So let's chat about this. Let's regroup. What should I be reading? What should I not, read just yet? Okay? Let me know if you're participating in Nonfiction November, and if you are, what are you planning on reading? Are you planning on reading any of the ones that I just showed you? This has been fun. I can't wait till Nonfiction November starts. November is just around the corner. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you really soon. Bye.